Grab a cup of coffee, sit back for a moment, and let me take you back to the 1950s. Clang! A type bar slams a ribbon, a bell dings, and the office air is a fog of cigarette smoke and ambition. Phones with chunky buttons blink like runway lights. Paper isn't just paperwork, it's the bloodstream of the building, coursing from desk to desk in manila envelopes tied with string. Listen to the rhythm. Click, clack, ding, shuffle, stamp, neck. This is where careers are typed, copied, filed, and carried by hand. The boss doesn't email, he dictates. If you miss a call, a pink slip tattles on your desk. There's a whole pool of people whose superpower is speed, fingers flying, shorthand whirring, calculators chattering like crickets. And here's the kicker. Time travelers. Almost everything you see is about to vanish. Over the next few minutes, we're going to speed walk through 30 office habits that were once as normal as a necktie and today feel like museum pieces. Some disappeared because of new machines. Others died quietly under new laws and new attitudes. A few went out with a smoky cough. Keep your ears open. One or two of these will sound so strange you'll swear I'm making them up. I'm not. Ready? We start with the tools, the loud, greasy heart of the mid-century office, and we'll end with the rules that changed who got to sit where. The ride gets wild in a moment. Stay close. You don't press keys, you hit them. Each strike is a commitment. Mistake? Roll the platen back, erase with a gritty wheel, try again, and pray the boss doesn't notice the ghost letters. The desk shakes with every sentence. The bell is your metronome. People measured skill in words per minute and accuracy, not emojis per message. And when the day ended, your fingers wore a thin ribbon of ink like a badge. Keep watching, because in a moment, we'll meet the purple ink monster that perfumed whole schools and offices. Copies? No printer, no copier. You stacked carbon paper between sheets, clamped the set, and typed with extra muscle. Originals up top, duplicates beneath, often smudged with inky fingerprints. If you messed up, you corrected every layer or started over. Filing and distribution were physically exhausting. Collate, separate, staple, root. People learned to press hard, like writing with a purpose. Don't blink, because a sneaky breakthrough shows up next, and it slowly takes carbon's crown while smelling suspiciously like a chemistry set. Then came forms that duplicated themselves. No messy carbon sheets. When your pen bit down, the pressure triggered a chemical handshake between layers. Miraculous for invoices, receipts, and order book. Clerks stopped blackening their cuffs. Though they kept pressing hard, habit never dies fast. Still, this didn't end the copy problem. Offices needed dozens, sometimes hundreds of pages, and retyping wasn't an option. So they turned to the loud, inky machines that could flood a floor with freshly minted pages. Wait till you smell what's next. Here's the purple ink legend, the spirit duplicator. You cut a master, crank the handle, and the room fills with that sweet, solventy scent kids remember from school sheets. Mimeographs, their beefier cousins. Ink-rolled copies in quick bursts. Typos? Too late. Your mistake now exists 200 times. Secretaries became press operators. Sleeves rolled up, fingers stained. Bulk copying meant planning. Masters prepared, stacks dried on rack, and runners delivered packs across departments. Stay close. The next machine swaps your voice for a cylinder and someone else's hand. Picture the boss leaning back, speaking into a plastic horn. Memo to Carter, meeting move, stop. The device, belt, wire, or disc, captures every and cough. Later, a secretary plays it back with a foot pedal, typing in rhythm to the boss's breath. Corrections arrive as bark, not track changes. It's oddly intimate, like reading someone's thoughts in slow motion. This loop, dictate, transcribe, revise, powered whole floors. But speaking of loops, the next invention curled business contacts into a spinning little wheel you could thumb through like fate. A fortress of cardstock, alphabetized and personal. Each card had a story, scribbled notes, crossed out numbers, a coffee stain from a deal sealed late. You flip, you felt the weight of your network. Lose it, and you lost your reach. Colleagues guarded theirs like treasure chests. Sharing a card was social currency. Sure, we search today, but back then you remembered where a person lived in your wheel. Next up, a machine that didn't just add up numbers, it practically sang them. Before spreadsheets, columns were conquered by clacking keys and a satisfying ka-chunk total. Operators flew across 10 keys with dancer's speed, heads bobbing to invisible music. Errors were audible. A wrong rhythm, pause, a muttered drat. Rolls of tape spilled down the desk like party streamers. Proof for auditors and bosses. Accuracy wasn't optional. It was your reputation. We're about to leave the desk, though, and tap into the first taste of global instant messaging. No, not the one in your pocket. Imagine texting by thunder. You typed here. A machine chattered there, halfway across the world, carving letters onto narrow paper. Telex lines stitched continents together for orders, quotes, breaking news. Messages arrived with clattering urgency, then snipped into strips and glued to forms. It was fast, official, and gloriously noisy. The telephone was jealous and about to evolve into a desk beast with buttons for every line and a dance only receptionists truly mastered. A small city lived on your phone. Blinking lines, hold music, intercom buzzers. You learned to juggle. Hold for Mr. Ames, line 2, go ahead. Cords coiled like snake, cradles crunched under chins. These sets were sturdy as toasters and twice as bossy. Call etiquette was an art. Timing mattered. Miss a call, though, and the consequences arrived in unforgettable pink. Ready to see how messages moved before inboxes? The next section is a relay race run by paper, pedals, and people. Behind the scenes, a human router plugged you into the world. Operators memorized names, voices, and extensions like magicians. They screened, announced, and protected busy managers from chaos. In a crisis, they were conductors, orchestrating lines with lightning hands. Their headset was a crown, their console a galaxy of lamps. The whole building's social graph ran through them, but even they couldn't catch every ring. So desks carried a tiny square of accountability, printed in unmistakable blush. Missed a call? A pink slip waited, scolding in cursive, who called, time, message, action. It was voicemail before tape. Those pads became mini diaries of your workday and sometimes your excuses. People kept stacked, proof that someone important wanted them. If the note vanished, so could your appointment. This little ritual didn't just inform, it nudged you to respond. And if you needed to talk across the floor, you didn't ping, you tied a knot, literally. Thick manila, 2 holes, a red string. Names marched down the front, crossed out, added again, a living breadcrumb trail. You'd slip in a memo, loop the string, and send it on its way via a cart or a runner. The envelope might make a dozen stops before returning home, bloated with annotations. It was slack, but you could weigh it. And if you worked downtown, something even faster than feet might whoosh your note through the building's veins. City business districts pulsed with mail carriers, several pickups and deliveries a day. Companies scheduled their rhythm around the post. Morning orders in, afternoon replies out. Mail rooms were logistics hubs with scales, stamps, and sorting bins. Special messengers ran contracts across town between pickups. Timing was everything. A missed sack might delay a deal by a day, but in some buildings, letters didn't walk, they flew. Drop in the capsule, twist, whoom, compressed air shot it through a maze of brass piping to another floor or another block. It felt like magic every time. Receipts, notes, even small parts traveled at lung-full speed. Clerks listened for the thud of arrival, popped the cap, stamped the paper, sent it back. It was instant messaging with a heartbeat. When the system went down, you didn't reboot. You grabbed the stairs. Still, most messages began and ended the old-fashioned way, with a person. Front desks were theaters of first impressions. A receptionist recognized faces, soothed tempers, and captured messages with a pen that never seemed to run dry. She triaged visitors, balanced calls, and guarded the inner sanctum. A good one could save your day. A great one could save your reputation. But for the VIP missives, there was a ritual. The boss's voice, a whirring foot pedal, and a typist who could translate breath into sentences. The loop ran like a factory line. Boss dictates on a belt or wire. Secretary transcribes. Drafts circulate with pencil edits. Final gets signed in ink. Everyone knew their place, tempo, and standard margins. Turnaround time wasn't seconds. It was hours, even days. Yet the system produced crisp letters with a certain dignity. Soon, though, a single invention would start to unspool the paper maze and change copying forever. Brace yourself. We're about to press a green button and upset the gods of ink. Every desk was a dam against the paper river. In on the left, out on the right, a blotter in the middle to catch the fountain pen's impatience. Paper clips, brass fasteners, rubber stamps, small tools that made big days manageable. You could read someone's status at a glance by the height of their IN. The system wasn't fancy, but it worked until the day duplicating got easy. Then floods turned to tidal waves. Knowledge lived in steel. Rooms of cabinets hummed with secret. Contract, personnel files, client letters. You navigated by index cards and color tabs. Off-site storage meant a basement that smelled like paper and dust. New hires learned the filing system before they learned names. Lose a folder and you didn't hit search. You formed a search party, but a storm was brewing. Soon, anyone could make a dozen copies in a blink, and those cabinets would swell to bursting. Before the first easy photocopiers, copying meant mess. Carbons, stencils, wet ink, drying racks. You planned duplication like catering. Quantities, timing, manpower. Costs were tangible. Paper, solvent, labor. Then the machine arrived that spat out clean, dry copies on ordinary paper at the touch of a button. Policies multiplied. Memos grew longer. Make 5 copies became make 50. The paperless office? Not yet. One more paper ritual stood firm, though. The art of rooting approval the slow way. Documents traveled with a passenger list. A routing slip named every stop. Read, initial, forward. Red pencils barked orders in margins. A single bottleneck could stall a project for days. Vacation, flu, or a desk buried under IN. Managers learned to walk the floor to shake signatures loose. When the last box filled with initials, the paper finally earned its stamp. That slow choreography shaped entire schedules. But the room itself shaped behavior too, beginning with a symphony of type bars. Rows and rows of desks, all facing the same direction, all keeping the same tempo. Supervisors patrolled with a keen ear for errors and idleness. The pool was where young careers started. Speed, accuracy, discretion. Promotions meant escaping the chorus for a quieter desk. When a rush came in, the pool swelled like an orchestra at crescendo. Then, as machines grew smarter and executives typed their own note, these grand rooms thinned and eventually vanished. Before push buttons ruled, a human captain ran the lift. One hand on the lever, one eye on the floor dial, one smile for the rush hour crowd. Going up, doors slid with a flourish, cages aligned with landing lip, and the operator knew everyone by face. They kept the building moving and the gossip flowing. Automation took over, but for a long time, an operator's nod was the morning's first appointment. Thunk. The card slid in, the clock stamped truth in purple numbers. Even office staff, not just factory crews, tracked hours that way. Cards curled in racks like a paper picket fence. Forgot to punch? That was a conversation with payroll. The ritual brought order, and a bit of dread at the end of a long week. Electronic systems softened the noise. Remote work erased the rack entirely. But nothing beats that satisfying, judgmental thunk. No chat channels, just a bubbling jug and 5 minutes off your feet. Deals were nudged forward there. Rumors incubated. Birthday cakes planned. You'd meet people you'd never email today. Mail room to manager, engineer to exec. The cooler was democratic in a way the org chart wasn't. When office layouts opened up and kitchens expanded, this little oasis lost its mystique. But the phrase lives on, a ghost from a quieter hallway. Ashtrays sat like coasters on every surface. Meetings formed their own weather systems as smoke curled toward the ceiling tiles. Lighters clicked in sync with ideas. Burn marks tattooed conference tables. It was normal, expected, even stylish. Then health research and workplace rules caught up. Offices banned cigarettes, then cigars, then even the whiff on a coat. The silence after was startling. No flick, no exhale, no hacking laugh from the corner. Culture changed, and with it, the smell of work. Men wore suits like armor. Ties were passports. Women navigated stockings, heels, and unwritten rules about hair and hemline. Casual Friday was science fiction. Your clothing told clients you were serious before you spoke a word. Uniformity bred predictability and pressure. As industries loosened and talent markets widened, comfort crept in. Sport coats, then polos, then hoodies. The pendulum swings, but the old codes linger in portraits and memories of elevator mirrors. Coffee went from perk to right. Break rooms sprouted percolators that burbled like friendly dragons. The 15 wasn't just caffeine, it was sanity, a moment to stretch ink-stiff fingers and swap quick news. Managers learned productivity improved when people stepped away. Over time, the machines changed. Drip, pods, fancy steamers, but the social contract stuck. Everyone gets a breather, and sometimes that's where the best ideas first yawned away. A handshake over soup could move more money than a month of memos. Long lunches cemented trust. And yes, the martini had a vote. Restaurants near downtown towers learned to read the pace of a deal by dessert. Expense accounts told stories. Napkins caught secrets. As work sped up and rules tightened, the ritual shrank. Today it's a quick bite, a call, a calendar link. But ask any old pro. Some partnerships were born in the hum of a crowded dining room. Year's End turned offices into mini print shops. Address lists updated by hand, envelopes lined up like dominoes, stamps moistened, signatures practiced until the ink ran thin. Clients judged you by the weight of your cardstock and the sincerity of your typed line. It was branding with bows. E-cards are painless, but they don't perfume a desk or stand on a mantle. The season once sounded like letter openers and tape dispensers. Open the newspaper's employment pages, and you'd see it in black and white. Help wanted, male, and help wanted, female. Whole careers were nudged by columns. Men were tracked toward management and sales, women toward typing, stenography, and the pool. Talented people learned to aim low or fight uphill. The office layout reflected it. Executives on the windows, secretarial rows in the middle, support tucked behind. Over time, laws changed, enforcement sharpened, and the culture, slowly, unevenly, opened doors. Opportunities expanded, titles blurred, and the line between his job and her job began to dissolve. We're not telling a fairy tale, progress zigzags, but those old classifieds feel like a telegram from another planet. In a moment, we'll stitch all these vanished habits together and ask what they left behind in us. The good, the bad, and the oddly comforting. Time travelers look back at that floor. Clacking keys, purple ink, strings tied in tidy bows. Technology pulled the first thread. Copying got easy. Phones grew smarter. Messages leapt from paper to screens. Law and culture tugged the rest. Smoke cleared, dress relaxed, doors opened wider. Some rituals deserved to die. A few we miss. The tactile certainty of a stamped date. The human warmth of a receptionist who knew your name. The shared rhythm of a coffee break. But here's the twist. The spirit of the old office isn't gone. It's hiding in our habits. Inbox Zero is just a new in-tray. Group chats echo the water cooler. Contact apps are Rolodexes without the coffee stains. The tools change. The work of being human together hasn't. If this little time jump stirred a memory, or surprised you, do me a favor. Smash that like button, subscribe for more journeys, and bring a friend next time. We've got miles of history ahead, fellow travelers.